Yeah, I do believe I'm ready to do so. I don't think you're ever truly fully ready. But yeah, that is a dream. Does that need to happen when I'm 39 years old and having probably the most fun of my life, coaching and working and being here? No, that doesn't mean that needs to occur right now. But yeah, that is the goal. That is absolutely the goal. But like I said before, that goal can hold off for a while here and continue to do what we're doing. That'll be pretty special.
He's back.
What is up, Bucs fans? We are live on a special night here at Real Bucs Talk. It is Wednesday, January 22nd, and that is now known as the day Buccaneers basically brought back Liam Coen, redid his deal, and it's awesome news. It's great that yeah, I mean, it was a move that was necessary, and I probably should have put in that clip instead with Matthew McConaughey from Interstellar, but um, yeah, it was definitely a great move by the organization, as you guys saw there on the screen, and I think all the talk was about whether or not Todd Bowles should have been fired or kept or whatever, but I think at the end of the day, it was do whatever you can to keep Liam Coen. At the same time, Todd Bowles deserves to be here as well. So now they're both back, and now you're ready to get this offseason started. But without further ado, I'm your host, Michael Plush, joined as always my co-host, Mark Ramirez. Mark, how are we feeling? I know we were nervous over the last 24 hours, but it feels good that Liam Coen is back for 2025.
No damn doubt, right? I mean, the last few videos and live streams we've done, it's like preparing for him to leave and what would have to happen for him to come back, right?
Right.
Going back, time to push in the chips. Yeah, push the chips in, go all in. I mean, this is literally the window to get your Super Bowl win. I mean, the only other chip on offense is to get Godwin back. It's literally the only other thing. The rest is just load up on defense to help Bowles. But I mean, huge win for the Buccaneers. Like, I mean, you saw the Rick Stroud like late last night saying, "Oh, they're preparing for Liam Coen to be like getting the offer from the Jaguars to be their head coach." I mean, literally every Jaguar X account, I guess insiders like, "Oh yeah, they're really strong. They're getting ready to give him the job." Blah blah blah. They're already looking for defensive coordinators. Right? Done deal. And then this morning, boom, he wants to stay, getting bigger contract, well worth it. I mean, we'll bring up numbers later. We've talked about numbers.
Yeah.
But what he did that was such an upgrade over Canales was just astronomical for everything. I mean, and first time full control, took control of this team. Yes, we have plenty of talent. Yeah. But it's how to use those tools, right? Any carpenter isn't a great carpenter. There's good ones, there's shitty ones, there's ones that are all right. He put it all together and it looked magnificent. Besides some of the play call in the last game of the season, but either way, the mistakes were made by individual players.
Yeah.
Per source, the Steelers are attempting to trade for Liam Coen to make him their team president per source. Yeah. So I felt like every Jaguar source was saying, yeah, they are a dumpster fire. But what's funny is that they fired their GM the second after Cohen said no, and now you see them like scrambling. Oh, we're going to make Cohen say no again. Like no isn't it good enough, and like it makes you think crazier things have happened in Buccaneers history. I'm hoping, like you put up in the intro, there's going to be a time where he wants it, but he's having so much damn fun here in Tampa that let's keep winning, let's keep making this thing, just riding this thing out because this coaching staff that he put together, not just Cohen. And we were talking about this late last night, like not just him, but all the guys that are pushing him to be better, like Clendon, Grizzard, the offensive line coach.
Right.
Like everyone in the rooms are bouncing ideas off of each other, and that's what made them so good. I mean, touch on that, and then I want to go more into like, because we all thought it was either Cohen or Bowles. One of them has to stay, one of them has to go. But luckily, we got both, right? So, but talk about like why it's so substantial, not just Cohen, but the whole entire staff.
Yeah, I think it's important because you don't want to go into another offseason looking for a new offensive coordinator yet again.
Yeah.
So having that continuity, I think building the culture, building a good foundation on both sides of the ball is very important for this team. I think big picture, you can look at it and say, yes, Todd Bowles deserves to be the head coach for the Buccaneers in 2025 because of the leader of men he is and the way he brings the culture, the team together, the plan he has in place. And he is a very smart head coach when it comes to defense. He has shown that in the past. Now they're going to go into this offseason and really put a focus on adding defensive talent and adding depth to that. But at the same time, the way Liam Coen, his ability to be an innovator, to find ways to make this offense really fly and be dynamic on all phases, whether it's throwing the ball or running the football. I think you go into the offseason knowing you can't lose this guy. And I think you had to do what's best for the franchise. And they understood that going into it. And obviously had the interview with Jacksonville. There was pretty good possibility that he was their top choice, especially after Ben Johnson went to the Bears. And if he was offered the job, who knows what would have happened? But, most likely he probably does take it. But I think the Buccaneers knew and they got together. As it was reported by Peter Schrager, he talked about how Jason Light, Todd Bowles, Mike Greenberg, Baker Mayfield, they all came together and decided we got to have this guy back. And they put in a significant offer to make him one of the highest paid offensive coordinators in the league. So that's important. And it's just going to be nice knowing that next week this team can have both their head coach and GM at the Senior Bowl, something they haven't been able to do for the last several years because they're always looking for a new offensive coordinator. So I think that is very important.
Yeah, and then if you want to put up what I shared right there, just like Liam Cohen's deal is believed to be similar to the Eagles' defensive coordinator Vic Fangio. Reportedly earns 4.5 million per year, so
Right.
well worth it. I mean, a top 5 offense in year 1. Yeah, like past experience doesn't say what future is going to entail, right?
Right.
But it usually has pretty close number 2 towards it. Especially if everyone stays healthy. That was with times where Mike Evans wasn't on the field, Godwin's not on the field, Otton
Mhm.
on the field. So there's so much more potential, and not to mention the first time in his career, Baker Mayfield will have an offensive coordinator 2 years in a row, I believe. That
Yeah.
it seems unrealistic. Like, how is it even a stat?
Yeah, I believe it's the second time he had Alex Van Pelt for 2
Oh,
years in a row. 2 years in a row, but unfortunately, that second year he got hurt with the shoulder, and then had the unfortunate season. But I put this tweet out there earlier today, and I believe we'll see if this is what happens. But Bucs offense is ready to roll right now. They have everything in place with Liam Coen back. I think we both would like to see them upgrade some defensive staff assistants or at least bring some change there. We'll see what happens. And then it's up to Jason Light and his staff to add defense and more of it and continue to build the depth of this team. I don't expect them to make any type. I mean, who knows? We'll see about the splash moves, and we'll talk about that here in a little bit with the John Spytek news. We'll get into that. But I fully expect him to add a lot of defensive talent, definitely upgrade the secondary, upgrade linebacker position, and probably, add a defensive line here or two for sure. But that's how we see it. And I think the Buccaneers are in really good position to compete for a championship this upcoming season. And that's what you have to hope for as a Bucs fan.
because the whole thing, that's why it was so dire that everyone, it seemed like all Buck fans were saying it truly was either Todd Bowles or Cohen, because it was like,
Yeah.
you, normally, well, look at just last year, case in point last year. Like, a lot of people are like, oh, everyone's being so emotional about it. I'm like, well, but it's the team you root for, and it's potentially you're gonna hold someone that's their stats have been going down during their tenure, And if you're a defensive minded guy and you're a head coach, your defense better be pretty damn good consistently. And it's not, right? And
Mhm.
blame it on the injuries, blame it on whatever. It was not the part of the team that you lean on at all.
Yeah.
And exactly from your last drive of your game, 441, you couldn't get one damn stop to get the ball back. Like that's pitiful. And the other team just time of possession took it away because you couldn't stop them, and you were the last one on the field. So that's the last taste everyone had in their mouth. And
Mhm.
if it was Todd Bowles or Liam Coen at that point, every Buck fan was saying, "I want Liam Coen because look what he just did for me." Right?
Yeah.
I'll put this other tweet I put up from Greg Ottman over here. We talked about it in the last live stream, but it's cool to see the
Mhm.
numbers
Right.
like that. Let me zoom in a little bit more so you can actually see.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy. 1 year improvement in the Bucs offense from Liam Coen from Dave Canales. Total offense went from 23rd to 3rd, scoring 20th to 4th. Like these are insane numbers. 32nd in the rush to 4th, top 5.
Yep.
Passing offense 17th to 3rd, third down offense 10th to 1st. To be honest, Dave Canales, that's actually huge that he was at 10th. We're awful the year before. In the red zone offense, the money downs, money time, 30th to 4th. That is huge. That is a top tier offensive coordinator that wasn't just utilizing players, it was schematically getting them open so
Yeah.
your quarterback can read it faster. And that is beautiful. He got paid what he got deserved because it's a production-based league. That is massive production. And Dave Canales was considered a massive production person, and he got a head coaching job. So I think Cohen truly does like it here that much with the quarterback, the players around him, the coaches around him. He didn't want to mess anything up. And if we could bring in some defense, whew, good luck
Yeah.
to the rest of the 31, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, good points here by both Buccaneers podcasts talking about a lot of, the latest of the 13 hires or the most recent hires that have defensive backgrounds. So that does factor in. But you have to, build those into strengths. That's something you want to have a balanced overall team. John talking about free agents. I think free agency, we are going to be aggressive. I think we're still going to be smart about it and be logical with how we approach. Not going to spend huge money, but I think they're going to go out and get some guys. I think the days of relying on Josh Hayes and Tyreek Funderburk are probably done. I think they're going to try to get some more people in here, to get away from that and it not be in the situation that they were in this year, losing certain guys to injury and having to rely on those type of players because frankly, those guys were unplayable. Same thing with KJ Britt. They're gonna find ways to upgrade linebacker and secondary for sure. And we'll see. We'll talk about the big fish because I know a lot of people want to talk about the potential of a big fish acquisition as far as the edge rushers that could be out there for, whether it's trade or free agency. But yeah, I mean, Jeremy, good to see you. Yeah, Liam is going to make us Super Bowl contenders for sure. Derek, he's not going to Jacksonville. I think you can put that to bed. He is back here in Tampa. He wants to be here. I think this is where he wants to be. And it's all the things that we discuss, the culture, everything. And Mark, I mean, this is a big day for Buccaneers franchise.
Absolutely. I know a lot of people are saying, oh, there had to be something written in the rule that he'll probably be the successor of Todd Bowles. Like, again, there's the Rooney rule that doesn't allow it. So you can't contractually say anything like that.
It could be verbal agreement, which I think Jason would, he would hold up his end on that. But right now, I mean, he's back with Tampa and that's all that matters. And all that stuff will play itself out.
Yeah. And let him enjoy his time that he's here. Like, I didn't think Dave Canales should have left, but he took what he got. I mean, It is what it is with that. And I feel like we're in an upgraded situation right now. A guy that knows what he wants to do. Like I just said, likes his quarterback, likes everything around it. And just imagine he learned how to use each one of these guys. He understood how much defenses lean towards Mike Evans, and he utilized everyone around that because of that. Then he loses Godwin. He has to learn how to use Otten. Otten takes over. like literally, like we mentioned before, 4-game stretch where he was unbelievable. And then you go over to, oh, you lose Otton, McMillan somehow turns into a miraculous touchdown maker, right? Like,
Yeah.
so imagine with he has all this healthy starting week 1, you don't have to lean so much on certain guys. You know how much you can give to other people, not to mention Bucky, Rashad White. What can he do with Devin Culp down the pipeline? Like, there's so many ways. I guarantee his mind's thinking like, holy crap, I got a powerhouse here, and this is my time to utilize it. And I understand the strengths and weaknesses of all my guys right now, and this system works. That's the biggest thing. Like, understanding it's working for an NFL team that I just did at my year 1. Let me just get even better in my year 2. And you got all those guys behind you saying, okay, no, we did this, we can get even better next year. And I think that's the type of offensive staff he has and doesn't want to lose mainly. So from an offensive standpoint, I think we're ready to rock and roll. You don't need much. I know a lot of people want another receiver just because of Evans' age and Godwin's injury, health, stuff like that. You don't want to be in the situation where it's just McMillan and no one, right?
Yeah.
But I just wouldn't draft it high.
Yeah, no, I think you talk about Chris Godwin, and I think that is going to be the next huge domino to fall as you see him here. Again, just having him back in this offense. And people forget that Chris Godwin was 1A in this offense. He was the guy. He was the main target to start this season. Mike Evans was the secondary option. So when you look at Chris Godwin, having this type of guy back in your offense where he can exploit matchups like this because everyone else, especially Mike, is getting all the attention, that just makes you that much better. So it's going to be really exciting to see him back with Liam Coen. So I think that's very important moving forward. But also, I'll play this clip of Baker. I put this in my other video we did earlier about Liam potentially leaving, but just listen to Baker and how detailed he is and how much he cares what Liam brings to the team. And I think that's really important now, Baker being able to take even a higher step than he did this past season.
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, obviously it's public knowledge. He's getting the interview for the Jacksonville job, but it's going to come down to a one-on-one at Sawgrass for him to decide whether he actually takes the interview. So, no, but Liam's done an incredible job, and it's the influence he's had throughout all the guys teaching the game of football. I've mentioned to you guys like all year that teaching the details of why we're doing certain things, why we have certain plays alerted or canned, whatever you want to call it. And he does a great job of that. And then calling the plays to his player strengths, that's what good OCs do. And so he's done an unbelievable job of that.
Yeah, I mean, like he just said it there, calling plays to the player's strengths, players over plays, right? That's so important. So I think just having that where, like you said, everyone should step up in some type of way, level-wise or execution, I think is going to be the biggest thing that we see improve. And guess what? That was probably the biggest issue for this offense in crucial situations, right? It would either be a turnover, a penalty here or there, or some type of snafu. So I think that is going to be just a huge benefit going into this year.
I mean, players over plays and understanding what they're good at. I mean, look at last year. Dave Canales force-fed Chris Godwin to stay outside. Chris Godwin verbally and his wife verbally put it all over X saying, like, there's got to be a better way to utilize him. What are we doing? Why is it taking so long? There was no taking a long process. Like, Cohen looked at what the hell they did good last year and said, why the hell don't we do it? And I just sprinkle more on. And then the ability to just transition the running game, like, oh, you guys aren't great at that. Okay, what are you good at? Okay, let's just start doing more of that. Like, simple concepts, but then he added wrinkles on top of them. That was with the creative stuff you saw. Things like Ben Johnson does. And then you start seeing Liam Coen getting all these highlights from all these films junkie guys because he's starting to add wrinkles to, okay, if you're that good at this, let's add a little bit more, right? And it's not throwing too much at him at once. We already know what you're good at. We're going to throw a little bit more. That's it. And that's what good teachers do. That's what good offensive minds understand. And I thought it was huge. And having Godwin back, I mean, that's the next chip to fall. Hopefully it does. And we're scared if he left, Godwin's leaving with him, right? Because of the production he put up so fast. And I think it truly does happen. And a lot of the sources close to the Bucs are saying that's going to happen. But like I still a lot of people are saying that we're going to spend in free agency. I don't see it. I think Jason Light's going to look for a trade maybe.
Yeah.
But a big signing, I think you were kind of hinting at that too. I mean, I think it's just going to be veterans that are be lesser. I know we have more cap space, but Jason Light's learned from his past history of signing big contract guys.
Yeah, I think they'll make sure the fit is right. I think if they are going to invest, it'll be, value costs. I don't think they're going to overspend or try to, overdo it. But again, with Mike Greenberg most likely being back, that helps you with the salary cap, helps you, target the right people and make sure you get the right contracts in here. So that's important. But again, I can see them adding a top corner in free agency. I can see them adding one of the pass rushers. I really like Ojulari from the Giants. I think that would be a good addition. A guy that's had production, can play in this scheme, has been athletic, most likely an upgrade over Anthony Nelson or JTS. So you look for guys like that kind of bring that value to you. I know we talked about Levi Onwuzurike. I think that would be an awesome move. So you just have to see what type of value. But again, this team has been about draft and develop. Yep. That's going to be their motto. And I fully expect that to continue. But we'll see. I mean, it is going to be interesting to see how they go about it. But when you look at this offense, it is pretty much set. We talked about Chris Godwin coming back. He's going to be re-signed. Ben Bredesen, I think, most likely comes back if the price is right. And that's pretty much it. I think after that, you're looking for another receiver to add to the mix just because you want to prevent what happened last year as far as injuries go. So really your top three are locked with Evans, McMillan, and Godwin. And then I think they want to upgrade over Sterling Shepard, Ryan Miller, Trey Palmer. Cameron Johnson, I would love to see you be the punt return guy, but you're really locked in. They're going to re-sign some of their backup free agents on the offensive line for sure. Robert Hainsey probably will leave, though. I think he'll get a starting job somewhere. Maybe Spy Tech gives him a call, but they don't really need a center because they got Jackson's Power Johnson. So,
yeah, I mean, you never know because that O-line room is tight, and he's good friends with Baker, so he's literally like the swing guard / center. They can play anywhere in the interior, so why not, right? But we'll see. I mean, I'm more interested in what Cameron Johnson's going to be because all you heard was how good he was in training camp last year. You kept a guy that was pretty much injured all year on your active roster, and he only played like 2 or 3 weeks. So what does this guy truly have that they were so enticed to keep him? And yes, is he better than Trey Palmer, Ryan Miller, and Sterling Shepard? And can he be that guy where you don't have to draft a guy early, even though you probably should because of Mike Evans' age and the injury history of Godwin? Maybe, but let's see what season workouts do and how good he can come in. Hopefully he's healthy. I know a lot of people are pissed off about so many injuries. But I mean, offensively, you're so stacked everywhere besides your fourth receiver.
Well, I think it's about what I talked about with you earlier today. It's just about insurance. You want to make sure you have that position stacked. It's the same thing as cornerback, and that's something that the Buccaneers, I think, need to emphasize. You got to have corner depth across the board. You got to be able to have guys that can come in and play at that position. It's the same thing with receiver. I think it's important to have guys that can step in case something goes down, because Liam Coen, he wants to be in 11 personnel. He wants to be in 3 wide receiver sets. So it's important to have a couple dudes there ready to play. And I'm not saying draft a receiver top 50 pick or, first 2 rounds. I'm saying 3rd, 4th, 5th round. That's what Jason Light has done over the last several drafts. He's always taken a receiver for the most part in pretty much all his drafts. So I would expect something like that to take place. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. It doesn't have to be the draft. It could be, in free agency where they add a guy maybe like a Josh Palmer from the Chargers, a guy that can get downfield, stretch the field vertically, be a reliable target as well. Stuff like that is something to look for. I know people talk about Luther Burden. He's not going to be available. At least he shouldn't be. That guy's a top 10 overall talent. If he is, that would be awesome. But yeah, I don't think so on that one. But yeah.
I mean, the receiver thing, but usually it's the same thing as like any of your starters. If your top 2 of your position go down, there's no way you can manufacture the same production Mike Evans and Chris Godwin gives you with their 4th and 5th receivers. It's just not possible. You're not going to be paying your 4th, 5th receiver $10 million or more just to be on the active roster because they're just sitting there waiting for someone to get hurt. It doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So you can't realistically pull it out of your ass and say, okay, well, now we have a Pro Bowl caliber guy just sitting there waiting because we drafted him. Like, it'd be a poor use of a draft pick to me. Like, unless you're thinking about trading Mike Evans sometime in the season, once you get it makes no sense to me. Like,
right.
I understand the 3rd round just for future reference type of thing.
Yeah.
Like,
I think this will be a lesser.
Yeah.
I most likely it's going to be a day 3 late pick if we're taking offense because, like we said earlier, most of these resources this offseason is going defense, and that's where it should be. Krillin talks about it. Yeah, cornerback, safety, edge, defensive line. Those are the strengths of this year's draft class, and I think that's where you got to look at. Trill makes a good point here. Got to develop these young receivers. I think they can do that. So that is, always in line, I think, for this offseason. But yeah, definitely. Day 3 for sure.
Day 3 or 3rd. I mean, look, Chris Godwin and Jalen McMillan are both 3rd round picks, and they've been doing well.
Yeah.
I mean, one other talking point. I mean, people are shitting all over Sterling Shepard. Besides, if he got open,
he
can make acrobatic catches, which is insane. But it was like crucial catches, like on 3rd or 4th down against the Cowboys, catch that ball.
Yeah, got to be consistent. Yeah.
Even McMillan in the playoff game, a simple drop causes you to be a longer down a distance. You don't get it, right? So I don't think it's necessarily they were that god awful. It was just you got to execute better, and that's just an execution thing. That's not the player isn't up to snuff, right? Like some of the podcasts I was listening to, I'm like, oh, they're just so terrible behind Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Jalen McMillan. Well, you're not going to get the same type of guy when it's a 4th or 5th guy sitting down. So they just need to execute when they're on the field. That's plain and simple. I mean, it's a whole other story when you're looking at our starting corners that can't catch a damn interception to save their life. Oh, we're going to put them on the jugs machine. They still can't catch it.
Yeah.
I mean, that is the bigger issue. The guys were open schematically. Coen got them open. They just need to catch the ball. That's not your receiver. Catch it. So it wasn't necessarily they don't know how to run it or they can't run it. Just need to catch it when they're there. That's it. That literally is it.
Yeah, tall Florida guy is speaking my language. If you guys haven't seen it, we have 2 draft film breakdowns out there on the channel. So be sure to check those out. We talked about Marshall's Mike Green. He's an edge rusher, really talented, probably going to be a 1st round pick when it's all said and done. And we also came out earlier today with Chris Paul Jr. That is definitely, I think, someone that will be in the Bucs radar as far as linebacker. Again, a day 2 probably selection. Don't have to take him 1st round. He'll probably be there somewhere in round 2, round 3. Where I think that's where the Buccaneers should focus when they want a linebacker. They could even wait till day 3 for linebacker because the main thing at that position, you got to find someone that can move, and Chris Paul can definitely do that. So be sure to check those videos out. A lot of fun. We got another one coming out tomorrow. He is a big boy, so it's in the trenches. It'll be a lot of fun to see that one. We'll keep it a secret for now, but be sure to check that out tomorrow night. But yeah, a lot of good stuff. And looking at the depth chart, though, yeah, I mean, you can see the needs. Defensively, there's going to be a lot of turnover because majority of these guys, you have free agents on this side of the ball. So, Mark, I mean, just talk about the defense and what can we expect. Just a lot of probably additions on this side for sure.
We've talked about it before, and that's why like our first two defensive prospects of the
Yeah.
draft
It's gonna be a
are
lot of defense.
right? Are an edge rusher and now a linebacker, and there's going to be a big boy in the next one. So, and hint, hint, it's another defensive player.
Yeah.
So, that's our heavy draft coverage. So, if you want any defensive guys, put them in the chat, put them in the comments. Like, we'll keep searching, especially guys you think that will fit the Todd Bowles defense, because these two that we did do, and I think the next one does as well.
Mhm.
But like, I'm a huge fan of Chris Paul Jr. because of his ability to a gap blitz. Like I said it in the video, like I think it's something we greatly missed from Devin White. Even though he had other issues he was a liability in, he was a monster going downhill. KJ Britt couldn't do that, and they leaned on Levante to do it a little too much, in my opinion. And
Yeah.
you needed a guy that can do sideline to sideline, hit those A gap blitzes, actually give some pressure, not just get stopped at the wall. Like find a way to slither your way around. And this guy does that very, very well. He has the speed to play in the game and understands coverages and zones. Very comfortable in that. And backpedaling. Doesn't look like a moron twirling around, lost. Reads his keys. So like that was one of my favorites of the draft so far. I know yours is Mike Green.
Yeah.
Like I said it a few live streams ago. It's your middle linebacker and corner, I think, are two of your most priority needs. After that, yeah, we need depth in the defensive line. But those two, I wouldn't mind it being first and second round pick. Just don't make the linebacker first round pick.
Yeah. 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 A lot of good names popping up here in the chat. So I will definitely take a mental note of these. I'll go back in the chat and make sure I write these down. But for sure, I know Jihad Campbell is definitely a popular name. Darian Porter, all these guys I'm seeing. So we'll definitely try to get to them and get as many as we can, for sure. But defensively, I think you nailed it. We talked about it before. Linebacker and corner are going to be important, targets this offseason, because I think you got to build this corner depth better than it was. I know the big injury was Bryce Hall. I wouldn't be surprised to see him return and continue to add there, like add a draft pick, add Bryce Hall back, add maybe another free agent. They have to decide what they want to do with Jamel Dean. The thing is, you got to have more than what you had this past season, because these guys just tend to get hurt, and that's unfortunate. But we got to have more at both corner and safety for sure.
I know injuries are part of the game, but you also got to plan on the injuries as well. Like you said, like cornerback on this defense is greatly needed, evident not just by last year, but the years before that. Like, and it's almost guaranteed some of them are going to get hurt for a long time. Carlton Davis had it. Jamel Dean's had it. Like, Zion McCollum, knock on wood, has been doing well, but he's had hamstring issues in the past too. He had a concussion earlier on in the season. Those usually start creeping up on you again. So they need to improve that room big time. And Funderburk may have gotten a lot of good stuff during training camp and during preseason. It's not the season. He got ridiculed during the season. Josh Hayes, I know a lot of people said he did awful. I think he did better than Funderburk, but was it good? No.
Yeah. I just don't think he's good. The problem is he's also a bad special teams player. I mean, he's got a missed tackle rate of 30%, which isn't good. So, yeah, I think they just need to move on from him. But, yeah, it's going to take a revamped secondary. I think that is going to be the goal this offseason. And we'll see what happens at safety, too, because Jordan Whitehead is no guarantee with the car accident that he was in. But let's move on. Let's talk about John Spytek, because he got
the big news.
He got the job with the Las Vegas Raiders, as you see there below. So he is their new general manager, and I think that is awesome. Obviously we get Liam Coen back, but we lose John Spytek. I think we'll take that trade any day. I think we'll take it. because Spytek deserves it. I mean, the guy's been here since 2016 and has really done a fantastic job building up this roster.
Yeah. So I guess the big thing is like, so the front office is a big difference than the actual like coaches. So it's Jason Light's your GM. Spytek was the assistant GM. He only had one. Oh no, and Mike Greenberg was also an assistant GM. So the big thing is, who does he poach other assistants from us? I mean, we know how good our front office is for years now. And this is the first time someone's actually taken him. I mean, Greenberg almost took the Jets job, right? And they ended up choosing the Commanders guy. So it's you hope he doesn't take a lot, or I guess Jason Light kind of moves someone else that he truly wants to be his assistant manager with Mike Greenberg.
Right.
And it's going to be a little, because he knows how good we are at scouting. I guess that's the biggest thing. Like, to build a team, you need to draft within. That's why I'm not big on signing guys outside of the organization unless it's just little pieces here and there. So he knows probably I need to find these draft scouting department, right? So will that deter us this year? I mean, this is going to be the first time Jason Light and all the coaching staff go to the Senior Bowl, because we have an offensive coordinator that's been here for the second year. So that's a good part. But was it truly Spytek and other guys? Let's see who he takes, right? So it's a good and a bad thing. It means you're a good organization that people want more from you, but you got to reload, and hopefully, like Jason Light says, like all the people underneath him are smarter than him. He just relies on them to mainly do the jobs. He's just making the execution. So let's see.
And like Tall Floor Guy says, he definitely deserves it. He's earned this opportunity, and I think he's going to do well there. I think he's going into a tough situation with the roster for Las Vegas, but I think he will find the right people to run and help him to get that support like Mark talked about. It's going to be intriguing to see who he gets as head coach. That will be important. I know the rumor has been Pete Carroll. We'll see what happens there, but Spytek knows Tom Brady, and obviously that was, why I think a majority of why he got this job, not just what he's done, but their relationship, I think, does matter. So that's important, and I'm happy he is getting this opportunity. And we'll see. Does he bring Kyle Trask over there? That'll be something to look at. I don't know if he will, but they do need a quarterback to compete over there with whatever draft pick they do add or free agent that they sign. But yeah, definitely going to be interesting to see if he does try to poach, some of our guys.
And your big joke was, okay, Spytek's there. That's the in to get Max Crosby if you trade. I mean, if you think about it, give them some picks so they can move up to get a quarterback, and we get a guy that 27 years old, sack master, add that to our already dominant interior.
Yeah.
And a rising star in Yaya. Why the hell not? But I mean, it's just possibilities. You got a good communication there. So let's see, right? There's a lot of, there it is. Now we just need Jason Light to discuss Max Crosby trade details with his buddy Spytek.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, these type of things I think will be on the table this offseason. The three names that have been mentioned across Bucs fandom or just Bucs media is Max Crosby, Myles Garrett, and Trey Hendrickson. Those have been the three main names that we could trade for. Another dark horse name that hasn't been talked about a lot, I don't know if he's available, but Harold Landry, I think, would be intriguing, just because I think he fits what we need. We need an athletic speed guy that can complement Yaya Diaby. But we'll see what happens. It'll be definitely entertaining to see if any of these type of calls or discussions are made. I think you go in there and definitely make those calls, but it also depends on price tag, and Jason Light doesn't like to give up draft picks for sure.
Yeah, that is such the case, man. So but is it that home run shot you take, right? does a one pick matter that much more? I mean,
Mhm.
has Jason Light traded high just a pick besides JPP? Like, I don't remember. What was JPP? Was that a second round pick?
Third round pick for JPP, which makes a lot of sense. That's really good value. You get a really good pass rusher for a third rounder. That's probably what Jason Light wants to give up.
Yeah.
He doesn't usually want to give up.
Inflation.
Well, he doesn't usually want to give up first or second rounders. And again, even for Gronkowski, he gave up a fourth for Gronk. So it's like, yeah, I mean, he just doesn't really make those type of trades, but we'll see. I mean, it's time to, I think you have a perfect opportunity to go in like this, like put your chips on the table. Like John V said earlier in the chat,
Yeah.
you have a Super Bowl window right in front of you. So
John B has some good comments though. Did you see the one earlier of Dean is gone, death, taxes, and Dean getting hurt?
yes. Yeah. I had that one up earlier. That is perfectly said. And then we were talking, I think, yeah, Krillin doesn't want doesn't want Trask to leave, that's for sure. So
He made another one of like Brady going back to spy tech. So Spygate, spy tech.
yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, I think everyone would love Myles Garrett. I think that would be, everyone would go insane over that one. And again, he's probably the most likely one to want out. I don't think the other guys want to leave per se. I think Trey Hendrickson, it will come down to contract. He's in the last year of his contract, and they're going to give Jamar Chase big time money, so they might not have cap space to re-sign him. So that one could cost less, just because you're paying for a 1 year rental. But yeah, Miles would be insane to get, because he's athletic enough to do all the things Todd Bowles wants to do.
He could be used anywhere, inside,
Yeah.
outside, anything.
Yep.
But again, he's going to have a miles and miles of a contract. You have to situate.
And,
I don't know if we
and
can do that.
yeah, and expensive. Multiple first. I agree with that. So yeah,
Would be expensive. Yeah. And for him, for that caliber of a player, you don't get that often. So you would have to give up multiple firsts. I don't think we would do that. That'd be a splash of a splash to make that type of play. And I don't think you're asking Jason Light to give multiple firsts. He doesn't even want to give away one. So I highly doubt we can get Myles Garrett. That would be the most I'd be almost more surprised at that than getting Tom Brady for that way.
Yeah.
That'd be nuts for him to give away that much capital. The way he thinks, kind of thing.
Right.
But yeah, Trey Hendrickson and Max Crosby, I think it's more in our wheelhouse. Portability and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, either way, something needs to be done for this defense to get better. Like, actually put this thing up that it's a lot of stats in here.
Is it ready?
We need it's ready right there.
Okay, got it.
So, our good buddy James Hill over at Mr. Bucks Nation. I think every YouTuber knows that's a Bucks content guy knows him.
Right.
This is Todd Bowles' tenure with the Bucks, and just saying, like, there's some regression going on here, but then there's some good. But this is again defensive coach, defensive rankings, right? Total points allowed, kind of staying around the same area, 13th, 7th, 16th, kind of around the teens area there. Total yards, 9th for his first year there, and then 23rd, 18th. Some of these start getting pretty bad. Yards allowed to rushing, we've always been good at that. But the passing yards, we've been 29th 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
It's nuts. That to me, that is awful. Abysmal. Any word you want to use for bad, go ahead and throw it in there. Passing touchdowns allowed, still near the 20th, first year 28th. Awful. Defensive takeaways. I'm surprised to see the 16th in there. I think a 16th, but that's the fumbles in there as well.
Yeah, I think that has to go into how I think offensive turnovers as a whole was probably a little bit down this past year, but
but that was the big meat that I wanted to kind of go over. So like
Yeah.
the passing yards allowed 29th twice in a row when you were 9th, your first year there. What happened? I mean, that's when we thought it was okay. It was like, oh, we lost Jordan Whitehead, so that's probably why,
Mm.
right? And clearly, Jordan Whitehead coming back didn't do it. So it's like, is it needing of a new influx of defensive assistants to bring a different look? Is it a player personnel thing? Was it truly the injuries? Because you didn't get any injuries, it felt like last year, and you're still 29th. So so what truly is it? Either way, you need to get an influx of talent. But from what it sounds like, not many coaching changes are going to be made, which I think there should be regardless.
Yeah, I would like to see some staff changes. I just feel like we showed earlier, you got to bring in some new ideas, new freshness just to the staff and challenge these guys in a different way. I think some of it, the message has gotten a little stale. But we'll see what happens. I think secondary and it's going to be overhauled, like we talked about. Free agency, I know people have brought up like Khalil Mack. I don't know if we'll go after him. Again, he's going to demand big money. You look at Josh Sweat.
The winner. He's like 33 right now. 30.
He's going to be I think he's going to be 35.
Damn.
Coming up this season. So, but
he did have a good year though.
he did. I mean, he would be awesome to have. Again, it just depends on price tag and how much you want to pay him. I think Josh Sweat, I've talked about before. If he is available, he would be a good target, good scheme fit. But overall defense, yeah, it's unfortunate to see those numbers, to see the stats. The advanced analytics are even worse than what we showed. So those type of things definitely need to improve. But I think they most likely should improve if the talent base and the talent depth is better overall. And at least you hope, if you're Todd Bowles, because if it doesn't, then obviously we have more ammo to say, okay, we're going to move on from you. We're going to bring in Liam Coen or whoever to be the head coach moving forward. But we'll see. I think the pressure goes back on Todd Bowles today with Liam Coen coming back and understanding, okay, we're one-sided right now. How do we balance this thing up where we can be at least consistent enough on defense to get stops? And again, you are still decent enough in points allowed, which is good. You're in the top half, 16th, which isn't great. I mean, it's good enough. You're average. So with that, if you can just be a little bit more consistent in taking the ball away or getting more off the field, that's going to help your offense and really take control of this thing to win games more consistently.
Because, I mean, this almost looks skewed because rushing yards allowed 4th, 5th. Yeah. If people know all they got to do is throw the ball against you, you're 29th. They're not going to force feed the run, right?
No. Yeah, who's going to run against us? Nobody.
Right, if you can just pass to gain the easy yards. So it's frustrating in one aspect, but there's got to be new concepts. I mean, I know they're like, oh, the pass rush will get there faster. But if you're like someone was saying, you can't free release these guys. You can't be playing so far back or can't be in a certain zone where it's just a free release middle of the field, right? Your linebacker play will help the middle of the field. Yes, but some of these concepts need to be improved or changed up on. I mean, I know you rely a lot on Dean and McCollum on the outsides. Having healthier guys behind them will help, but still, even when you had the full team healthy, sort of healthy, there were times people would go, and there was no stop. It was just a flood. So things need to be changed in there. Drastically, no. Because, I mean, either way, Todd Bowles' voice, you heard Levante David, we're not complaining. We just need to execute better. But sometimes you need to have someone rattle you a little bit to have you understand, okay, let's look in the mirror a little bit more. Like, where are we messing up? And what do we need to fix? And that's where I think on the offensive side, you have all these guys clinging ideas off of each other. And like everyone's saying, the yes men of the coaches on the defensive side. You almost need someone to say, no, like I see it this way. How can we meet in the middle and make it better? Like, that's all we're asking. We're not saying Todd Bowles shit, crap, get the hell. Like, I'm more saying be innovative. You knew what you wanted in the offensive side. Let's figure this defensive side out because clearly you were the weakness last year. You've been the kind of weakness 2 years in a row now.
Hmm.
What's going on? And you're supposed to be a defensive mind. Let's go.
Yeah, and I think when you look at the construction of this team, and I feel like this could be a very important offseason for the defense and what you're able to add because, obviously going back to 2020, you win a Super Bowl, you had a roster that was all in with the Brady, and then you go back in 21 with even a more loaded roster. Probably should have won it again, but unfortunately injuries bit you at the wrong time. You didn't get the job done. And then 2022, it was just kind of a up and down year, obviously with BA, leaving, retiring, and then Todd Bowles stepping in late. So there's a lot of factors there. But when you look at the construction of this team, it's kind of been gearing towards this offense, putting all these pieces together and really becoming complete. And that's what we've seen. Now you have the mastermind behind it in Liam Coen. You were able to get Baker Mayfield for a very good contract. So really you've been able to set yourself up. The offensive line has been building. And I think now you have that component in place. Everything's set. Defensively, you've been adding talent. You've been adding guys like Kalijah Kancey. You've been adding, Tyke Smith, Chris Braswell, etc. I'll even mention Logan Hall, sure. You've been adding, Zion McCollum, etc. Antoine Winfield. So you have guys there, but I think what their focus definitely needs to be is adding more versatile guys, especially in that secondary that can play man coverage, that can play zone, do a little bit of be kind of more versatile. Because right now you only really have Tyke that can play man coverage on a consistent basis. I mean, Zion struggles with it. I think, Dean obviously struggles at times with it. So you got to get some more guys that can play man coverage back there.
I mean, one other point is look at our defensive run during the playoffs in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Every game we had an interception. Every game there was a turnover. Like Sean Murphy Bunting had it. It was a 2 or 3 game stretch in a row. Then the Super Bowl, it just went off. Like Devin White got one. Edwards, Antoine Field, like everyone was contributing. But that is the Topples defense. And if you're not producing turnovers, he's the epitome of bend but don't break. And that's why I thought it was so huge that we lost Evan White, because he adds that component to force the ball out faster where guys can jump routes easier. But the thing is, even when they would jump them, they couldn't catch the damn ball. Jamel Dean's hands are awful.
Yeah.
And how many times did we see this year where they had an interception and they got taken away? Because they just can't catch it. Even Merriweather had that. McCollum had that.
Right.
I think Tyke Smith had one of those. So, like, if you're in the position, like sometimes that's one thing where I'm like, damn, Todd actually called it. They're just not catching the damn ball. Like it happened in the Lions playoff game last year. Dean drops an interception in the end zone. The Rams game the year before, Dean drops a touchdown in the end zone. So, like, a lot of his defense is predicated on that, and we didn't get it, and we're not getting them. The jugs aren't working. We got to emulate this as like a game action, like force who it is, the practice team guy, to throw a ball to a damn secondary player. Like, you can't be just Winfield getting interceptions, especially when he's hurt. So we need to find ways, ball hawks that can get their hands on a ball to get takeaways, because clearly we didn't have the pass rush from the interior linebackers this year, and I think that added to it. But either way, the added pressure in the middle, I think, and then getting guys who can catch a ball.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, for sure. And I think, pressure up the middle, I think that's why, like, defensive line could be a very underrated, draft pick to look for, or even addition, because, again, we're going to continue to repeat, even though Logan Hall had a better season statistically, like, it would be nice to have him as a depth piece where you bring in another guy to maybe take over for him that's a little bit more higher level, more consistent overall. Will they do that? I don't know. I mean, hopefully Logan Hall continues this trajectory and it gets better from a consistent standpoint. But yeah, defensive line could be a sneaky pick, especially early on, because this draft class is loaded at D line. And getting back to that point, find a guy that can be that Ndamukong Suh, or not saying he's going to be that type of player, but just someone that can push the pocket like they had with Vita Vea and him, because that helped out your defense a bunch. So,
and I completely agree. I mean, I just think the way Todd Bowles runs that defense, that this is what it is. And Todd Bowles is here; he's not gone. Yes, I want some little influx of new voice coaches just to kind of run some different ideas off of each other. He does do dynamic blitzes. You got to give him that. But he's got to stay consistent with it. And yeah, I just think an upgrade over KJ Britt is 100% needed, and then depth in the corners. Because I think bringing Edwards back would be huge, but it's just catch the ball, guys.
Yeah.
I mean, the opportunities are there, and that's where I'm like, damn, I feel for Bowles at times. But there were liabilities that need to be fixed through the draft, or if you sign someone. It's mainly linebacker and corner, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I mean, obviously that was big picture looking at it. I think we've been talking about it for the last several weeks. Offense is pretty much ready to go. Now it's about adding talent to this defense. And like we said earlier, with Liam Coen back, that's the huge news today. With him back in place, now you can have guys go out to the Senior Bowl, go out to the combine, all that stuff, be involved with pro days, different types of things. You don't have to worry about setting up interviews for assistants or offensive coordinator. So you know exactly what you need for this team. And I think that's going to be very beneficial for Jason Licht and his staff. But hope you guys are enjoying this live stream. Be sure to hit that like button. We got over 400 people in here, which is awesome. So be sure to support the channel. Again, comment down below your thoughts. What do you guys think for this upcoming offseason? If there's something specific you guys want us to look at, we'll try to get to it as best as we can. But this has been a lot of fun. Obviously, a huge day for the Buccaneers, which is awesome, and it's great to see that the Glazers, everyone involved, made this move to keep Liam Coen here. And this is just the beginning. So hopefully we continue to progress, and we got a real chance to be a Super Bowl contender next season.
Well, if you think about it, we've made the playoffs 4 years in a row now.
Right.
Every time you're in the show, you have a chance. So
clearly
we're right
5
there.
years in a row.
5 years, forgive me.
Yep.
I've won the division 4 times in a row.
Right.
Well, like every time you're in the playoffs, you have an opportunity. I mean, look at the Commanders right now. Everyone thought it was going to be a 1 win against us, and that was it. They're right there. They're 1 game away from the Super Bowl. So just get in and let's see where you go. I mean, that's what all the players say, because it's true. Look at the Giants when they won their 2 Super Bowls against the Patriots. Like they barely got in. They just got hot at the right time. So it is very much possible, especially with the offense we're going to be able to throw out there. Let's see. And other teams, like you said, like the Lions are losing all their coaches. Will they still maintain the same offensive output, defensive output? They're losing everyone. They still have the same players, but do the coaches measure up to what they're losing? Those are pretty bright minds are leaving. And then Eagles, they are really good. Look at that. Commanders, do they stay consistent? Jaden Daniels, second years, blah, blah, blah. But I think they are very much primed to be in position. I just want to address one little quick thing about tall Florida guy said about Casey Rogers going to be in with Green Bay. Really quick, do you think he's going to leave, or do you think that's like positioning for a better contract? Like that's like Todd Bowles' guy.
Yeah. I mean, that remains to be seen. I wouldn't be surprised if he's back. Again, I would assume most of their focus was on Liam Coen and getting that contract done. So maybe they'll circle back to Casey Rogers. But that could also be maybe one of the changes that we're going to see. Maybe it's a start of multiple changes across the defensive staff. So I'm sure we'll get a lot of those news like next week, because when guys are at the Senior Bowl, you talk with agents, you talk with different coaches that are there. So there could be some movement that begins next week, especially with like all the new hires, Aaron Glenn, Ben Johnson taking their jobs now. So there could be a lot of movement taking place. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, I wouldn't mind Casey Rogers back because I think he does do a good job with the defensive line as far as developing those guys. You had your top 3 pass rushers from that group with Vita Vea, Cansey, and Logan Hall, believe it or not. So yeah, I think that is something to look for. Also, another good question here from D Ford. He talks about if they move on from Jamel Dean, which position has a higher draft priority, linebacker or corner? Mark, I think we both agree that it's going to be corner regardless. Corner is going to be the higher priority, especially in round 1. If they move on from Jamel Dean, I would expect they have a replacement in mind, whether that's free agent or through the draft, for sure.
Oh, no doubt. And usually Jason Light sets himself up so that in the draft they are primed for that corner or that player of need. They don't want to set it up that way, but they usually set it up where it's like, okay, if they truly need that guy, like Tristan Wirfs, we didn't have a right tackle, right? Devin White, that was set up that way too.
I think that was more scheme. I think just scheme fit.
But still, like they didn't have a guy in the middle like that.
Right.
Like,
right.
Oh, he fits our scheme so perfectly.
Yeah. I mean, it just happened. Tristan Wirfs was the best player available, so that worked out, obviously. But
yeah, I mean, we walked into that draft thinking, what's the best tackle is going to fall to us?
Yeah,
right? And it happened to be the best one. It's like
Yeah.
a damn all-pro walking.
Right. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing the Saints hire Byron Leftwich.
Please.
I mean,
Believe that he said no to the Jaguars. Even he said no to the Jaguars.
Right.
Wild.
Well, I mean, it comes back to the GM. Like Byron Leftwich wanted his own guy. But yeah, it's just crazy. I mean, the Jags and the Saints are not looking really good right now as far as the coaching cycle. Obviously the weather in New Orleans isn't good, so they can't get like interviews done. So it's yeah, I mean, the last couple of jobs, whoever gets those, that's going to be definitely something to watch for.
Oh, too bad, so sad, New Orleans. That snow is coming down, whatever. But yeah, I'm not mad about it. They have their own issues. Like the Jaguars have a lot of issues. Saints are in cap hell still, and yeah, like let them figure it out. We figured ours out.
Yep.
It is what it is.
Yep, absolutely. Well, guys, I hope you all enjoyed this show. Be sure to hit that like button. Comment down below your thoughts of the stream. If you have any other further questions, feel free to leave them in there. But again, if you're new here, please hit that subscribe button. We're going to try to have more content like this throughout the off season. Again, live streams most likely are going to be kind of bi-weekly moving forward. We're going to try to put out, draft content throughout the week. We're going to try to get into free agency stuff as well. So a lot of things are on the docket that we have planned. Now, again, if any type of like breaking news like we got today or like big time news comes forth, we'll try to do an emergency podcast like we did today. So yeah, definitely keep in tune with that. Stay tuned to the channel. We got another draft film breakdown tomorrow night. So again, appreciate all the support. With that said, everyone have a great week. Go Bucs, and we'll see you on the next one.
Woo!